All right. Welcome to the Macauley Project Podcast, episode 4444. I am Steve, your host. And this week's episode, I had a great talk with a friend of mine from a long time ago, and his name is Kyle Westberg. He's a musician, and I knew him because we played lots of shows together, and I went to see his shows a lot, and he came to my shows. Unfortunately, we never actually played in a band together, which is kind of weird, and we talk a little bit about that. But we also talk about music in general and making music and albums and the difference between making albums and just practicing and the future of AI and music and art and all sorts of cool stuff. Even going back and talking about being an emo kid and stuff like that. Anyway, it was really fun talking with Kyle. I hope you guys enjoy listening to it. And yeah, let's throw that intro on here so I can shut up. Hello. It's like we transferred into a whole new dimension once you hit that record button.
We're alive.
Yes. So, I will be doing like an intro on my own after. So we don't need to worry about like explaining who you are or anything. I can do all of that in the
Perfect
part. So
perfect. I hate talking about myself. So
good, because we're not going to talk about you at all.
Yeah.
You're just here to feed my ego.
Yeah.
And
why am I here?
Actually, I will say one thing. It's good to see you.
Good to see you, man.
One thing that pisses me off is that we never actually played in a band together.
I know.
Yet we were always playing shows together, but we never played in a band together. We've played in the same band, just not at the same time.
Not at the same time. Yeah. I don't even think, was there even like a conversation at any point of us getting together and making music?
Oh,
Maybe,
I'm sure it came up. It usually came up all the time. Like I would always just be like, yeah, we should do this kind of thing. But I don't necessarily remember. There was lots of drinking and pot smoking in Regina. So
I was gonna say at any time at any show when you see somebody after a few drinks, you're like, we should start a band, man.
Right. Then you realize you're saying that to a person who's in your current band.
We should keep being in this band.
That I know has definitely happened.
Yes. Let's continue the current path we're on.
You're in a band right now, though, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah. With our old pal Dave. Yeah.
And that's Femme Fatale? How do I... Fragile.
Femme Fragile.
That's the one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have it pictured in my head, and then I always think of the movie Femme Fatale.
Femme Fatale, yeah.
But I get that's the association that I'm supposed to make, I think.
Yeah. Oh, I never even thought of that. No,
oh, really?
Yeah, no,
oh, no, I'm just an idiot. I get it. You're just trying to spare my feelings.
Just trying to make you feel better. It's all good.
Yeah. How is that going? How did you get involved with that?
Well, it was just David and Shalyn.
Yeah.
You know, they had this studio project, Femme Fragile, and then kind of gradually released one or two songs, working their way towards a full album. I was originally brought on as like a live guitarist. It got to a point where they were wanting to start doing some live shows, and they wanted a guitarist for that. So I immediately threw my hat in the ring, because I think I gave them a hand with the music video. And I had, at that time, I had heard like a song that was yet to be released, and I was already a huge fan of the other song that they had come out. And I was like, you know, man, I'm really into this. Like, if you ever want to collaborate, if you ever want a guitar on a track or something, like, please reach out. Like, I would
Mhm.
love to work with you guys. And yeah, and then it just so happened they put a call out for a live guitarist,
Sweet.
and so I was like, hell yeah, man. And yeah, and they said they kind of had me in mind too, so it worked out. And
Perfect.
yeah, yeah. We haven't got together in a while, but hopefully soon we can start jamming again and make some. They came out with their album earlier this year,
Right.
and
Yes, I did listen to that. Yes.
yeah, it's like it's so good. Like,
It's very Dave. It's very
very
Dave.
much so. Yeah,
Yeah, which
yeah,
is great. That's what exactly I was like. It's exactly what I thought it was gonna be, but it was good. I was just like, yeah, way to go,
yeah,
Dave.
yeah. It's yeah, I love it a lot.
And
So
Shalyn, of course, I just know Dave so well, so it's
yeah, yeah. No, they killed it on it, and I'm stoked to be a part of it. So I'm excited for whatever we do next for sure.
and they're listening to this right now and being like, oh, should we tell him he's not involved in this?
Yeah,
Yeah, they're like, oh, this is awkward now.
yeah,
It's in public record.
yeah. No kidding. It's like,
I've definitely had that happen.
yeah, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's amazing that you're still playing, which is good because I know
Hmm.
how difficult it can be to continue playing. Uh,
Yeah.
Actually, I got invited to go jam tonight after this, so I was like,
Cool.
sweet. It's all just ending up on the same day. My creative days is apparently today. Um,
Perfect.
but yeah, things just get so busy. Like even last week we were trying to jam,
Yep.
and uh, it was like, oh wait, no, Buddy's got his daughter or has to get up early or
Yeah.
all sorts of things, and it's like every other time gets canceled, and it's just like, so to be in a band that's actually creating music and with a purpose, it just makes me
Yeah.
nostalgic for the old times.
Oh, and yeah, yeah, man. I missed it so much, and um, yeah, like you say, it's definitely difficult these days with, like, you know, adulting and
Yes.
whatnot. Sometimes the last thing you want to do after you get home from work is haul your shit into some dude's basement and and uh and do that. But when you do, like, it's the best, you
Yeah,
know.
once you get there and you're all set up, you're like, oh yeah, I remember why I did this.
Yeah,
this
it's,
is this is
you
what
know,
I'm
it's,
here for.
yeah, it's like going to the gym. Like, you hate the idea of it. It's the last thing you want to do, but like when you're there and you do it and you leave and it just feels so good. And
Yeah, every
yeah,
time you're
man.
just like, oh, I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I
Yeah,
did
hell
that.
yeah.
Because why couldn't 40 minutes ago Steve think that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. It's funny how our brains work like that. Speaking of making music, though, I know
Yeah.
that you don't just do bands, but you make your own music. Have you been working on anything lately?
Yeah, man. Like, lots.
Give me an example. What do you got? What's it sounding like? What kind of direction you going for? What do
What
you what do you got?
it's like what I always write. It's all sad and dark and
Sad, dark,
um
and hilarious.
sad. Use three words to describe yourself. Sad, dark, and hilarious. Yeah. Um,
Sounds accurate. Yep.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I just can't help myself. Everything I do, it just goes in kind of that direction. And you know, even if it's even if it's positive, there's still like a darker vibe to it.
Right.
It's just what I do, and it's what I like. And but yeah, man, like I've got a lot. I'm sitting on a lot of stuff, and there was a long time where I just didn't do anything.
Right.
And even during, like, I mean, initial COVID lockdowns and stuff, I mean, you'd think I would have taken that time to be creative, and like, but I didn't really, to be honest with you. And
Right.
it's just more so in recent months and in this year, like I just um or more so in the, like, the year as a whole, like I just started working on stuff, and uh ended up with a lot more than I thought I would. And Yeah, so I'm sitting on a lot, and it's like I spilled a puzzle on like a table, and I'm just looking at the pieces, and I just gotta put it together, and
Right. Yeah, I
you
get
know,
that.
like, yeah. So I'm just picking away, I'm working away, I'm putting stuff together, and seeing what fits and what doesn't, and
Sure.
I'm hoping this winter to, you know, um, put something together, like a new album, a new EP.
That would be badass.
Yeah, man, like I've got it all laid out. I've got a concept. I've got a title. I've got everything. I just need. I always add the songs last, and I think of the
You
concept
got
first.
any
Yeah,
you got any
do it backwards.
exclusives? You got any exclusives for me right now, or you can give away a song title or an album title?
Um, no, I'm not going to give away the album title.
Okay.
Let's see if I can. One of the songs. Um, uh, let's see. Let's see. Let's
Sad,
see.
dark, and hilarious. Got it.
That dark and hilarious, and try not to take up too much time thinking.
New album title.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, I am having a total brain fart.
That's
Oh,
all right. When you think of it, when you think of it,
yeah,
it's okay.
yeah. One of the sorry, I thought of one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you two. I'll give you two.
Okay. Here we go.
One of the songs is called "The Morning Has Gold in Its Mouth," and
Okay.
that's a saying that just kind of alludes to a new beginning, and it's just like a new day, right?
Right.
And then there's another song that I wrote called "Coffin Girl."
Oh,
Yeah,
she got COVID. I got
yeah, yeah. Yes. So there's an exclusive for you.
Sweet,
Yeah.
sweet. So for people listening, now you can kind of get an idea of what the sad, dark Kyle Westberg sound is.
Yeah, the sad, dark, and hilarious.
Sad, dark, and hilarious.
That's my album title. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, it better be, or I will be
Yeah.
severely sad, dark.
I'll throw in an Easter egg for you.
Yeah, there we go. I was gonna say though, like going back to the idea of being creative on during like the lockdown time periods and
Yeah.
all that. Looking back now, I noticed a few things. Number
Mhm.
one, to not get down on myself if I don't make something.
Yeah.
That's like the
Yep.
biggest one. It's like
Yep.
if something doesn't come out, then it doesn't come out. It's just not time for it.
Yep.
And then the second thing was deadlines are my favorite thing in the world.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, it's not about a deadline for the music. Like, say I'm working on a song or
Yeah.
something like that. It's not the deadline of, oh, this song needs to get out. It's a
Yeah.
deadline of, oh, shit, I have to go to work in 12 hours.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, what can I do right now? I act like that's the end. Like, if I don't
Yeah.
get it done before that, where I have to go to work and everything sucks again.
Yeah.
If I can get it done before that, that's what I need to do. And then I just go into like go mode, and then I can
Yeah.
create. And it's like, so the deadline isn't that it needs to get done. It's more like I'm doing this because I enjoy to do it. And in 12 hours or less or more or whatever, I will not get to do what I enjoy. I will have to go do my responsible obligations. And
Yep.
so I'm going to enjoy this as much as I can because I do enjoy it. And then I feel like, oh yeah, let's go. It's just making decisions because you got to make decisions.
Yep. Yeah. That's killer, man. Yeah. You just kind of like
Yeah.
force yourself into that. I mean, that's kind of got a negative connotation to it, but you put yourself in a situation where you can
Right.
be in
Yeah,
that. Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. You put yourself in the situation where it only makes sense to work on something.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Like if I was painting or something, and I don't feel like painting, I'll just set up my painting area.
Yeah.
Like my where I paint, I get out the easel and all the paints and brushes and clean the brushes and have it all ready and
Yep.
all set up, and then I'm just standing there. I'm like, oh, okay, well, it's set up. I might as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes it gets all set up, and then I'm like, nah, I still don't feel it. So I don't. But most of the time, I would say like 90% of the time, it works to
Yeah.
just get ready for it, even if you're not feeling like it.
Yeah.
Which is
100%.
fun.
I kind of got the same thing going on. Like I've always had I'm sitting on my couch and I like always have my guitar like right next to me. So
Yes.
even if I'm like watching TV or watching a movie, like if I just think of something and I just grab it,
Yes.
you know.
Exactly.
And if
Even if
and it,
even while watching, I just play.
yeah, yeah, me too. And it's just to get, I don't know, just to do it. And if I if I come up with something and if I don't remember it, then that's fine. If I do,
Right.
and if I record it, and then that's whatever. I'm taking a very, I want everything to be as organic as possible. That's kind of
Hmm.
the approach I'm taking with this, because
Right.
like with my last album, the
Yep.
only one, you know,
Yep.
like
Yep. Which, if
um
you have a link, I will share the link as well so people can listen to it,
oh, sure,
and
sure.
I'll put it on the video, whatever.
Cool. And yeah, like with that one, that was like almost like an accident. I didn't really mean to do that.
Right.
And toward the end, it just it took on a whole different thing. And like, I mean, I'm stoked on it. I'm proud of that I did that and everything. But um, I think there was like it felt it felt like forced in a way, you
Sure.
know, and a
Sure.
little slapped together. And I consider it more of like a mixtape than a proper album, you
Okay.
know.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
get that.
yeah. So this time I just want everything to be sort of, like I said, organic and consistent, and I think that's kind of what's happening. And like I'm excited for whenever I can get around to putting it together. And
Right.
yeah.
The way I look at it, especially from like teaching guitar for years and years and years,
Hmm.
what I realized later, maybe too late, yeah, never, no, never too late, but really late into the game, was that you start by practicing your instrument,
Hmm.
and then once you've gotten like a adequacy of your instrument, or like you have some kind of like where you want to be for like chords or whatever kind of playing style,
Yeah.
you get to a decent point where you can play your favorite songs, you can play whatever, um, then you're practicing being a performer of the music, right?
Right.
It's like you transition from, okay, yeah, I'm still going to practice my instrument, but I'm practicing it in a new way. Of now I'm practicing the performance aspect of it. I was
Yeah.
practicing to be able to play a song. Now that I can play a song, now I have to practice the song to get better at performing the song. And
Yeah.
then you take that next step where, say, you're putting together an album or a live show. Now
Right.
it's not just I need to practice my guitar for practicing guitar. It's I have to build off of all of these different things that I've been practicing
Yeah.
to practice something new. The new instrument is the album.
Yes.
And so you're
Yes.
practicing the creation of an album.
Yeah.
And so it can, like, I totally get the mixtape thing. You do a song, you record it, whatever. You do a song, you record it, whatever. But
Yeah.
with an album, compared to a mixtape,
Yeah.
it's each song is kind of developed in tandem, right,
Yes.
with the same kind of mood and vibe that you're going for the whole thing. So I
Yeah.
totally get that. And to not realize it early on, that it's like, no, this is the new practice, this is the
Yeah.
practice, and
Yeah.
then albums are what come out of this practice.
Yeah, man, 100%. Couldn't have said it better myself, for sure.
Don't worry,
Yeah.
we can edit. I'll just put that over top of your face, and then it'll
Be
just be like, like,
like
wow,
those
Kyle,
old
that was amazing and
like those old like kung fu movies
yeah.
where my mouth.
We have
Yeah.
the technology.
Fantastic. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's a great point. And like I also meant like a mixtape in the sense that um I brought in like just a lot of old songs and just
Yes.
kind of put them together. Like what I originally wanted to do was I was going through a really hard time, and I was just like I had these songs and I just really wanted to just have them, like record them. Um, like the band just broke up a few months prior, or I mean, like my iteration of it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
And like I really was into that a lot, and I was just really missing music. So I was just like kind of playing by myself again. And I reached out to Dave and I was just like, I just want to come in and record these songs. Literally just intended to go in with my acoustic and lay down some demos, just so I like had these songs and like something else than just my head, right?
Yeah. 100%.
And then like fast forward like literally almost a year, and you know, it just something just snowballed.
Yeah, man. I get that.
Yeah. And yeah, it was just some old songs, and I think I only wrote like 2 of them during that time. So it was a mishmash, and I mean, like I said, I'm stoked on it, and like the fact that I even did it, it was great. But yeah, this time around I'm hoping for something like a little more consistent, and yeah. And
yeah, I totally get that, man. I
yeah,
totally get that, and I'm excited to see what you come up with. Like,
yeah.
I have old songs as well,
Hmm.
and whenever I start recording, I can't.
Yeah.
So the fact that you were able to even do that is impressive to me, because I've had them too long. I have had them
Yeah.
too long that I've made too many contradictory decisions on what I think they should sound like.
Right.
So when I go to record, I have to unlearn those decisions and try to make new ones. So
Yeah.
it feels like what it's supposed to feel like. But at this point, I don't even know. All I know it is me playing it like physically. I can do that. I can go perform it with just me and
Yeah.
guitar. And it's like, okay, but over the years, it's been like 20 years now since I've written some of these.
Yeah.
So it's like, do I really want to play a song that was written by a 13-year-old version of me? It's like, I wouldn't read a poem written by a 13-year-old
Yeah.
version of me.
Yeah, that's interesting that you say that, because it was definitely tricky to do that.
Yeah.
Because there was one song on the album that I hated and I didn't want to put it on, but for some reason I just felt like it was the keystone of it for some reason, and I'm like, I hate it, but it's gotta be on there, you know, like. But yeah, like you mentioned like you make so many decisions with the song and how it sounds, and I didn't really have that. Like I went in with just like skeletons.
Oh, smart.
You know what I mean?
Smart.
Yeah, I went in with just like skeletons, and then like Dave was huge in adding the tissue and the skin, and
Right.
just like forming everything and with me, and like us working together to do that. And he has like such an ear for that, and he would be like, you know, showing me different sounds and adding
Yep.
sounds and doing all this, and I'd be like, yeah, man, cool, let's do that. Like that sounds dope. So like I went in with like just a rough ideas of these songs. So like there wasn't I was pretty much open to whatever at that point.
Sure.
So there wasn't a lot for me to like fight myself
There was
on.
no sentiment. There was no sentiment towards, oh, it should be like this, and then no like disagreements. It's like, nah, just whatever sounds good. Whatever makes it good. Yeah.
Exactly. Like it was more so like, I mean, I just really appreciated that studio experience too, you know? So yeah.
Well, working with Dave's great. I've worked with Dave. I recorded a song, just one of my own songs with him. Just me. So it was just me and him working on it, and then I worked with him doing the Hello Lady stuff.
Yeah.
Or at least I think we did a couple songs, but
yeah.
And every time it was just like, oh yeah, we're going to work with Dave. I love Dave.
Yeah. Oh,
for those
I know.
For those people who are listening and don't know which Dave we're talking about, David Roman.
Of Roman
Regina.
Empire Studios.
Oh, he still got Roman Empire Studios.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Roman
absolutely.
Empire Studios out of Regina, Saskatchewan.
Yeah. If you need some awesome film audio work, I'm just gonna plug Dave right now.
Yeah.
as we've been doing.
Dave is who I should ask about if he wants to be on here and do the podcast. Because Dave would be great for that.
For sure. Yeah.
You know what? Let's just end this one right now, Kyle.
Yeah.
Can you just
screw this?
Dave for me?
Just get Dave.
No, it'd work better if it was just you and Dave talking.
Yeah.
And then I'm just being sad, dark, and hilarious in the corner. That's
we would just be talking about like Batman and Nine Inch Nails or something.
oh man. Oh, we'll definitely get to that.
Yeah.
Man, maybe even right now.
Yeah.
Like, oh, actually, what it reminds me of, what Nine Inch Nails always reminds me of, first of all, is high school.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I know that me and you, we send music to each other back and forth quite a bit,
Yeah.
actually, comparatively to any of my other friends. I don't really send much music to.
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome. How do you feel like you are now compared to being in high school with your like musical tastes?
You know, pretty close to the same. Like, like, I mean, I still love a lot of stuff I loved in high school, like Nine Inch Nails and Tool and A Perfect Circle and all that stuff. Like, it was all about that, like late '90s, early 2000s, like goth rock or
Sure.
whatever,
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah.
you know, and I still like really, like, I still really love that stuff. And like my taste has become like very eclectic over the years. Like, I'm up for anything, and you know, as you know, per our last conversation, I think we were sharing like African death metal
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
like Botswana, you know,
Yeah,
like to each other.
exactly.
So,
Oh, it's
you
so
know,
good.
yeah, and I'm just like, you know, I'm all about that stuff too. It's like traveling the world
Right.
through music. I mean, like
Exactly.
African death metal, like Mongolian folk music, and
Yeah, it's
like
so crazy.
Turkish hip hop is amazing, and Estonian dream pop, and just like
Mm,
everything. It's just like there's so much out there, you know what I mean? And so, but you know, at the end of the day, like, I mean, a lot of that stuff that was so huge to me, like
yeah.
growing up, I mean, it's still there, and I still I mean, some of it's like kind of, you know, you listen to for the nostalgic value,
Right.
but
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
yeah, a lot of it's
Yeah,
like,
Spice Girls, I get it. Yeah.
oh, Spice Girls, yeah, absolutely, you know. But yeah, man, like, that's all good. I felt like I spent a lot of my 20s trying to stray away from it, because I just
Yep,
felt like that's what you do in your 20s. You know, it's
for
like,
sure.
all right, I'm grown up now. Enough of this metal shit, you know. And and uh and then I don't know, I turned 30 and I just had this epiphany where I was like, I just kind of looked back in my 20s and I was just like trying to run. I felt like I was trying to run from something, and I was like, you know, God, but I mean, that's what it is. Your 20s, you it's a decade of trying to find yourself, you know. And
Right.
and I mean, to some people, that's kind of how I did it anyway. But you know, I turned 30 and I was like, you know what, I had a pretty good idea of who I was when I was
Yes, yes, yes,
18, you
yes.
know, like. And I'm not saying I reverted back to my 18-year-old self, but I mean, like, I knew what I liked, and you know, I didn't want to be like ashamed of that anymore. I kind of felt, you know, so
Yeah, actually, it's funny that you say that, and it makes me think of when I was that age, and I was just like, I didn't really know what I was doing or who I
mhm.
was at that point.
Yeah,
But the funny thing is, with all the stuff I did and continue to do, I realize I'm still that same. I'm still the same. I don't even know if I could even pinpoint what it is that's like. I couldn't even really necessarily say that I know who I am. I
yeah,
just have become so comfortable in doing the things from this point
yeah,
of being Steve
yeah,
that I don't even worry about that anymore. And
yeah,
it's like,
yeah, man. You just do what comes natural to you and just be
right.
you. And yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And so it's just like, oh, I'm not gonna worry about it.
yeah,
It's just, oh, who am I? I don't know. Maybe I'm an alien or something.
yeah, maybe, yeah. Could be.
I did. Me and my friend Colton, we came up with this idea for a TV show. I'll just say it because aliens came up.
Yeah,
But I
I
always
want to hear it.
find it funny. It's like, imagine an alien comes to Earth disguised as a human to want to be, learn about humankind and whatever, and live with the humans.
Yep.
So he disguises himself as human. Which right now it sounds kind of like Mork and Mindy, but here's where the twist comes in.
Okay.
He goes on Craigslist or whatever, and he gets an apartment, and he has to have a roommate, and the other person is also an alien doing the same thing. But so they're both pretending to be human, but they both don't know that they're both aliens.
I love that.
And so when one of the aliens is trying to do something that they think is human, but is actually not very human,
Yeah.
the other person doesn't realize that it's not a human thing to do, so they also start doing it to make it seem like, oh yeah, I know human things. And then, so they're just both look stupid when they go out in public. And so everybody else knows they're aliens, but they don't know that they're aliens.
I love that. That's a great idea. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I thought it was funny.
To pitch it, man.
Yeah, maybe it would just be like a Saturday Night Live sketch. Maybe there's not a whole like season of TV, but
But hey, man, there have been movies and stuff that have branched off from the sketches, right? So
that's true. That is true. Nobody would have thought that Wayne's World would have gotten one movie, let alone two.
exactly.
And they ended up being amazing.
Yes. Exactly. There's been some good stuff come out of Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And you ever listen to Dana Carvey and David Spade's podcast?
I've
If you don't,
just
you
like
should.
no, I haven't, but I've seen like snippets and stuff.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's great. It's all about, they just bring on people who were on Saturday Night Live.
Okay.
And they talk about what it was like being on Saturday Night Live.
Nice.
With people from all sorts of different cast members from all the entire time. Some people from, I think they had like people from the 80s and onwards just talking about their experience on Saturday Night Live, and it's pretty cool. So Lauren Michaels is listening right now.
Yeah.
Hear that, Lauren? Maybe you should take up these ideas and invite me out to New York, and I'll write some more alien ideas or something.
It's too bad Pete Davidson isn't on Saturday Night Live anymore, because he would have been one of the aliens for sure.
Yeah, of course.
Like,
of course.
Like perfect. He kind of, I don't know, he looks like a kind of an alien.
Maybe he wouldn't want to do it. He's like, it's gonna blow my cover, guys.
Yeah. No disrespect to Pete Davidson, guys.
No. Speaking of movies and sketches and stuff, have you branched out more into things that are not music? That was a weird way of saying that. Do you do other creative endeavors these days that are not music?
Slowly but surely, I'm like getting into writing and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like novels or short stories or what?
Just whatever.
Historical documents.
Historical fiction mostly.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. No, I'm kidding.
Oh. It's not. I'm kidding. It's not fiction. It's just I write textbooks now.
Yeah. Yeah, I write lectures for fun.
Okay.
Yeah. No, just a little bit of writing and other than that, yeah. I mean, I mostly just music, and I mean, I would love to do something film related, but
well, music videos have got to be coming down the pipe, right?
I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
You should do it.
Yeah.
They'll be sad, dark, but hilarious.
Sad, dark, but hilarious. Yes.
Not
I'm gonna make
hilarious,
that'll be
hilarious.
if I ever make a T-shirt, that'll be on it. Sad, dark, and hilarious.
Oh, you know what you should do to get like the artwork for it? I've been messing around with this lately. Have you ever seen the AI artwork?
Yes, I have.
Oh my god, it's crazy.
It is crazy, but it's man. I'm not really for it though. Like, they look cool and everything, but I mean, that's
exactly how I felt until I did it myself. So
Yeah.
of these programs, it's like you just put in a prompt.
Yeah.
And you have to be like really specific though, because it doesn't understand context very well. So it's like, okay, like sometimes you'll get luck out and it'll do something crazy.
Yeah.
Or it'll just be like, it doesn't know whether it's good or not.
Yeah.
right? And so you're just putting in information and it's just
Yep.
popping it out. And I think I'm gonna try it. The one I've been using is called Starry AI, whatever, and it
Yeah,
just
yeah, I've seen those. Yeah.
and so I'm gonna just put in sad, dark, and hilarious, and just see what the computer pops out, and we'll watch. It'll be like perfect, and you'll be like, oh, fucking Google, fucking
Um,
robots taking over the world.
yeah, man. Let me know how that looks. But I definitely have someone in mind that'll do my artwork, probably the same as last time.
Sweet, sweet.
Yeah. My good pal Beth, she did such an amazing job on the last one. So, you know, if I
Well,
could
yeah, you
get,
got to go with what works.
yeah, man, if I can get her involved again, and then maybe work with Dave again. Dave, I'll talk to you in the group chat.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But yeah, man, if I could just kind of have surround myself with the same people again, that'd be dope. Um, but back on the AI thing, like they look cool and everything, and they're fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're a visual artist as well. You're a painter. I mean,
Oh
that's
yeah, it's weird as shit, man.
yeah. But like, I,
I don't
I
like
mean,
it, and I do at the same time.
yeah, like I mean, it's like I said, it's cool and it's fun, but um, like I'd always like support someone who would actually
Oh
do
yeah,
it.
I don't.
And
I think the weird thing, I guess, is calling it art.
yes, yeah,
It's because it can go either way in the sense of like, if you call it art, I can see it implying that what people do is
hmm
basically just procedural,
yeah,
which sometimes it is. Like
y-
sometimes it is, and
yeah,
or if you don't call it art, though, then the people who are procedural, then maybe they're not making art either. And so
yeah.
it's like, but I can see use cases for it. Like one thing I had in mind is like it actually just now was if you just did a whole ton of them
Yeah.
and made like a narrative story out of it.
hmm
And so instead of like being like I'm going to have to draw all these things, but it's like can I develop a story out of like 10 to 20 random photos that were
Okay.
generated with prompts that you put in, right? Like to try and get the vibe of the story you want to write.
Yeah.
But because of whatever comes out, now you have to adjust and now you have to improvise based on the photos that have been popped out. So like I think it's just moving into different territory of people will use it for art, but I don't think it'll replace art. Except
No.
for sometimes though, sometimes these things turn out really really good, and I
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of stuff out there that has already been replaced by AI art
AI. Oh,
because it's
probably.
cheaper.
Yeah.
It's just cheaper. So you'd get something like a basic advertisement kind of art.
Yeah.
Like something like that you wouldn't even look twice at,
Yeah.
but it was probably not paid. You're not going to spend however much money on a professional artist to come and do it when
Yeah.
you could literally just type in a few words and be like, "Yeah, it's close enough."
Yeah. My thought is, I think enough people and enough jobs are being replaced by computers. The like I don't want to replace art and artists with computers
Yeah.
and artificial intelligence and shit like that. You know what I mean? So
Luckily for you, I believe that the large majority of people don't think it's real art.
no, no.
So I think we're safe on that for
Yeah.
now.
It could be a slippery slope, though. I mean, like you say, with advertisements and album covers. I mean, like, how many of those have you looked at and thought like that make a badass album cover? You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I've even seen that. Have you seen these apps? I keep getting advertisements for it, but these apps where lyric writing apps.
oh, what?
Yeah, like they write lyrics. And
Oh,
so it's computer generated lyrics. And so you can give it a few keywords and then within it'll just process and then in a few seconds it'll just pop out a verse or a chorus or
wow.
something like that. And it's like you can give it different whatever limitations and be like,
Yeah.
I need this many words or whatever, this many syllables or whatever.
Wild.
Yeah. So now you don't even have to come up with the lyrics.
Well, I mean, that one I might use because I don't really think I'm a great lyricist, but
No, I agree. When I saw that, I'm like, don't tempt me.
yeah. It's like, oh, you're so deep. Like, I know. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So there's the lyric writing apps, and then there are those little gadget things that you get advertisements for that are like the music maker things, where it's just like you play it, like
Yes.
sampler, but it's like a mini sampler.
Yeah.
that-
Yeah.
And then you can record it, and then people just make loops, and this
Mhm.
is like a little loop sampler kind of thing.
Yep.
It's like, okay, so if you just use a loop sampler, pair it with a lyric writing thing,
Yeah.
and then use autotune.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
why aren't we popping out an album every day? But it's exactly for the reason you're talking about. It's
Yeah.
eliminating the artist from the art.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we do enough of that today in the world of art. So,
Right.
I mean,
you don't want to contribute to the speed of this train that's rolling, because I can see it. Like I said, it's probably already happening.
Yeah.
And actually, I know it's happening because you turn on a regular radio station.
Yeah.
It's the same exact thing. It's just, instead of computers, they were just using people to do it.
Yeah.
So they were doing the same process the computer's doing.
I will say,
computer stole the idea.
yeah, I will say though, on that note, like there's some, I mean, like I'm not opposed to all pop music. I mean, like I hate, I hate a lot of it, but I mean, like there's some really, like I don't do TikTok or anything.
No. Oh God.
But there is some
I have
amazing,
one, but I don't do.
yeah, there's some like amazing stuff coming out. There's some really terrible stuff. There's also some really amazing stuff, as with any platform, any genre, anything, right?
100% agree. Yes.
And like a lot of it, it's just these like kids in their bathrooms with like guitars, and I mean that's going on the radio, and that's so cool to see. You know what I mean? Because
Yep.
I feel like we just suffered through a decade of like the worst pop music in the history of music. You know, like
that's even an understatement.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't know. For some reason, I just feel like the 2010s were just. Like,
oh, it was bad. It was very bad.
Yeah, like
I would even say, like, I don't even know if there was anything good. Like maybe a couple songs here and there.
Yeah,
like if you look at rock music in particular.
Yeah.
Mainstream rock died a long time ago.
Dude, like there's not a lot more than like modern pop country music, but like I can't stand radio rock and like the butt rock or whatever they call it. Like
pop at least knows what it is. Pop at least knows what it is.
Yeah.
And so if there's a catchy, fun pop song, whatever, it's supposed to be bubblegum. Rock music being that, it just makes you feel sick.
It's so cringy, man. Like I turn off the rock station and put on like the pop, because like I'd rather listen to shitty pop music than shitty rock music, like all day. You know what I mean?
It's easier to digest. Maybe that's cultural or societal, where it's just a lot easier to take. Well, this is a mediocre pop song, but
I think, I think what it is just like with rock music. It's and I know we've had like conversations on the state of rock before, with certain bands, but like I think it's just this desperate need to. You know, people can't just accept the fact that it's run its course. You know what I mean? Because everyone's like rock is dead, rock isn't dead, you know, whatever. And it's like, well, who said it was supposed to like live forever? You know, you know what I mean? Like,
no, that makes a whole lot of sense.
I mean, and I think it's just part of this like this desperate need that people feel to just try to keep it going, and it's just the quality is just diminishing, and it's just and like, it just doesn't.
To add to this, because I very much agree. I went and saw Jack White this summer in June, and it was fantastic.
Oh yeah, nice.
because Jack White is not married to this idea of being a rock artist.
Yeah,
He is making whatever you want to call his music, which
yeah,
has rock elements, but it also
yeah,
has like EDM elements, and it has like blues, and it has like, really strange experimental like stuff that he's
yeah,
added in. And like listening to his new album was just like, whoa,
yeah,
where is he going? And it's like, it's still good. It's not Seven Nation Army catchy. Like, that's just
yeah,
a 1 in a billion chance. And I think he even talks about that himself. It's like,
yeah.
he didn't think much of that song, and it was
Right.
just so simple and catchy that it made him all of his money. He even said the tour he's currently on, that he just plays that song once and it pays for the whole tour.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
so
Honestly,
so he can get away with doing whatever he wants because
yeah,
that one song he had that really hit. And so it's
yeah,
like Jack White's out there still doing it, but it's like it the young kids who are doing cool things are just not doing rock, and I think that's okay.
yeah.
Like you're saying,
Well,
it's okay. It can die. It's fine.
exactly,
We had a
exactly.
grieving period.
Yeah, and that's just it. Like, and then we try to like revert back, even like with bands like Greta Van Fleet and
Oh
shit
my
like
god.
that. I know, like
I don't get it, and I will say right here, I don't even care how many people are listening in like Greta Van Fleet.
it's
I
so
hate them.
it's
Hate
so
them.
it's so gimmicky and it's so cringy and
Well, obviously that guy with the voice,
yeah,
the singer. I
yeah,
don't even want to call him a singer because it's not musical in any sense of the form.
yeah,
It's just like belt out everything because I have the capability. And
yeah,
then the band is just like, I don't even know. It's just hired goons to
yeah,
back this voice, and they're too young to have found each other and to
yeah.
have this kind of
I
idea.
would, uh, yeah, like I guess they're all brothers or cousins or something, but like
Oh,
I
okay.
I would be curious to see like if they just like went away for 5 7 years and just found their own sound, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like and just see, because like for what it is, it's good. It's rock. It's that classic style rock. And I mean, the boomers and the Gen Xers, they're probably all over it. That's great for them. um but I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
man.
just,
Well,
and
you,
what
yeah.
what pisses me off the most about it is
Yes,
like
bring it.
they get okay, they get the Led Zeppelin comparisons, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, because they sound just like them,
Yep.
and they completely deny it. And not only that, they act like oh yeah, yeah, I guess that makes sense. We didn't really listen to Led Zeppelin much growing up, but yeah, I guess we can see it. It's like, fuck off.
I, man, I, yes, 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 yes. I can't stand them. I just
Yeah,
can't stand them.
they're
Anytime I
like
see
yeah,
them, I'm like, no, get out of here.
they're like yeah, we listen to Aerosmith more than Led Zeppelin, but yeah, I guess you're right. It's like okay, like whatever.
It's
But
one thing to be influenced by a band
yeah,
and to play similar,
yep,
but to deny that you sound exactly like somebody, it's like, okay, you guys are fucked. Because
yeah,
you look at who's a great example. Oh, let's just go with the biggest one, the Beatles. The
yeah,
Beatles, their favorite artist was Elvis Presley.
yeah,
Yet they went and played rock and roll their own way. Like, they
yeah,
knew how to play the Elvis songs, but they
yep,
still wrote their own and did
yeah,
their own thing. So nobody's like, oh, these guys sound like Elvis. Even though they would have loved for people to say that they sound like Elvis. It was
yep.
like, no, they just did their music.
Yeah, and those are like the a lot of the worst bands and stuff out there are just most of what you've already heard. You know what I mean? Because it's nothing exciting, and you're just kind of okay. This band got this far.
Yep.
Let's just recreate that, and maybe we'll get that far too. You know what I mean?
Oh my god, I
And
know. I know that's
like
exactly what they're talking about too. I've
like I
heard
used
that said by
yeah
people.
like yeah
Yes.
like I used to play in like a death metal thrash metal band, and whenever we jam, they'd always talk about like Slayer and Metallica and Iron Maiden and all this stuff, and it was like, okay, that's all well and good, but like let's just forget that for a second, like yeah, we like you guys all love that stuff, and and that's great. But let's just see what we can come up with. Just like, I don't want to hear your Slayer riff. I just want to hear, like,
especially when there's videos of Dimebag Darrell calling people the N-word to their face. I don't think anybody should be really putting that up there. Like, I watched this video the other day. Like, a young black kid wanted to get his guitar signed by Dimebag Darrell.
Dimebag.
He's like, Dimebag?
Do you mean Kerry King?
No, Dimebag Darrell.
Like from Pantera, who died?
Pantera, yeah.
Oh,
I'm talking
okay.
like these bands that people like put up on a pedestal.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
These are the people that people are like nostalgic for.
Yeah.
Dimebag Darrell. I know Pantera. I was thinking Pantera, but you said Slayer, and I was just like,
right.
Put it together. But yeah, Pantera, same era.
Yeah.
And Dimebag Darrell, who they make custom guitars that you see at every store, Dimebag Darrell guitars. And this is a guy who literally called a young kid who loved his music, loved Pantera, wearing a Pantera t-shirt, wanted to get his guitar signed. He's like, get this N-word out of here.
Really, hey?
Yeah. He's like,
My
I'm not
God.
signing your guitar. While he had a Confederate patch on his arm. And it's like, that's who you're nostalgic for? That piece of shit who deserved what he, like, to be torn down? Like, God. Oh man, I saw that and it made me sick. I'm like, this is who people were like, oh yeah, Dimebag Darrell. It's like, man, that just made everything about him worse. His guitar playing, everything. Because if it's coming from that place of hatred, and it's just like, that's not music, man.
Yeah.
And metal's the worst for it. Like metal people. I've had so many conversations with metalheads over the years.
Yeah, that one seems to be kind of one extreme or the next. Like, I know at a lot of metal and punk shows they'll
Well, they're always talking about purity, man. They're always like, that's not real metal. That's not real metal. It's got to be this to be real metal. And
oh yeah, they're the worst for like the gatekeeping mentality for sure. Oh my God.
And it's like, okay, if it's supposed to sound like that, then everything will sound like that.
Yeah.
And then that's all there will ever be.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I just thought of this way of putting it. It's like, whenever there's a race for purity, it ends in blood.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the metal scene. It's like, you're not going to succeed as a band.
Yeah.
Or even just as a musician who wants to make music, even if you don't get materially successful.
Yeah.
You will never progress as a band or a musician.
Yeah.
If you're racing for purity of your music.
Yeah, it can be like incredibly toxic and just not a good time at all. And I mean, and then a band like, I don't know, Lamb of God, I'll say Lamb of God because I was listening to them the other day, and they just keep killing it with like everything they put out.
Man, I wasn't even into Lamb of God. I saw them play live, and I was like, "These guys are incredible."
I've seen them 3 times. They're one of my all-time favorite live acts, like 100%.
Oh man, they were so good.
Yeah, but I mean, like, they had an album where they introduced a little bit of clean singing, and oh man, holy shit, And it's just like little things like that, and then. Of course, you get the people that are like, "Oh, I don't listen to anything past the first 3 albums," and and if that's your honest take, if that's your honest
take, you're an idiot. I'll just say it. Like, what kind of person do you got to be?
Yeah.
To say a dumb statement like that, like, how dumb do you have to be? It's like, I only listen to this. It's like, okay, you could say it in a different way. I know that they're probably well-meaning. It's like, you know what? I just really wasn't into the later albums, so I don't spend much time listening to that. I checked it out. Wasn't my thing.
But no,
but they don't say it like that.
they will not listen to the new material out of spite.
Right.
You know? It's like, oh, they came out with a new album? I don't listen to anything past 90s, 99, man. Like,
the dinner I had last night, fantastic. I don't eat anything unless it was the dinner last night. And then a few days later, you starve to death. Like, I just don't get where they're coming from. It's like, if it's not that exact same meal in that exact same way, I'm just not eating anymore, man. Just not eating. I'm over it.
Yep. That's why I don't get like metalcore.
Oh my god.
I think metalcore is just one genre, and I mean, I'll admit I used to be into it for sure. I was, but
Yeah.
it's just one that I can never revisit, and because it doesn't evolve. It
Right.
just it
Right.
it doesn't evolve, and you have like, in its
It's
heyday.
computer generated art. Computer generated art.
Yes,
It's
see,
exactly what it is.
and it's like in its heyday in the mid 2000s, and it was like new and like somewhat fresh, I guess. I mean, coming off the coattails of like new metal and shit, but like,
Hmm.
and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, this is kind of cool, all right. And then it's like
Yeah.
15, 20 years later almost, and it's like, all right, it's
Exactly
nothing
the same.
exactly the same. It just doesn't
Guys, there's only
evolve, and
so many notes.
yeah, I just can't with it. I just can't. Like, I can open my mind to like a lot of country music more than I can to like metalcore stuff.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
yeah, 100%.
yeah, I
Like,
just can't do it with that.
and even within the country community, I would say it's the same thing. It's the
Yeah,
same attitude of you hear it all the time. It's, I only listen to old country.
yeah.
And it's like, okay. Like
See, that's kind of me. That's
I
kind of me.
only listen to yeah, that's me, but I try not to put it in that way because I sometimes I will hear a new country song randomly, not because of
Yeah.
my own volition, but I'll hear it. I'm like, that's not bad, you know?
Oh,
And
absolutely.
it's like, but I'm not like saying I'm never going to listen to country all
Yeah,
music. I'm not putting any limitations on it because
yeah,
if I were to put limitations on it, that would mean I would be outright saying that the Zach Brown band sucks or
yes, exactly.
Billy Strings sucks, and it's
Yeah,
like, no, 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 they're just doing very specific type of country, right?
yeah.
And it's
Oh,
like,
and there's so many different like subgenres and stuff like that. I mean, like what I think what people hear and what they mostly don't like when you say people hate country, myself included,
Florida
is
Georgia Line.
Florida Georgia Line, that modern stuff. But like even beyond that, I mean, whatever's on the radio or a lot of what's on the radio, it just again, it's just something that like I don't see evolve, and it's just
Yeah,
the same. Everyone has the same lyrical content and like literally almost the same lyrics and the same style, and it's just like, you have to really dive deep into that genre to like find the good stuff, you know what I mean? And there is the good stuff out there, and I went on a kick a few weeks ago. I was just kind of in a have you ever heard of Spencer Burton?
sounds familiar. I probably
Yeah,
have heard of some of his.
yeah.
Yeah,
So like I love Spencer Burton, and he came out with an album in 2021 called Coyote, and it's probably like the closest thing to country that I listen to. But like I really enjoyed it, and it just kind of like sent me on a bit of a spiral. And I'm like, what else?
right.
Like let's see what else I can find here. And I found some like really really cool stuff, and I'm like, okay, well maybe I don't hate country. I just hate like
Idiots.
yeah.
Just people who are taking music for granted and whatever.
On that note, I've always said, and I'm kind of kind of feel like a jerk for always saying this, but I just always felt that it was like the one genre that I had no respect for, and it
Mm,
and it was and it was music for people who actually don't care about music. You know what I mean? And like, I mean, that's
yes.
not fair to say though. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
No, but
not totally
I
anyway.
totally
Not
understand
totally.
it. I know exactly what you mean by it.
Yeah,
You said earlier it's like this the lyrical content and stuff is not developing, it's not evolving.
yeah,
Imagine living your life as a person who goes through a horrible situation, like
yeah,
a breakup or something, right?
yeah,
And you have a Carrie Underwood moment, and but the thing is, you move on, you
yeah,
learn from it.
yeah,
So for these bands, like I can understand like new artists singing about a breakup
yeah,
because they're young, they're new, their take is fresh on it because
yeah.
they're growing up in a different world than you grew up in, and now they're giving their take on it.
Hmm.
But that same artist, for them to continue
Yeah,
to sing about breakups and that they don't know how to cope with them,
yeah.
it's like you need to evolve as a human being first, there, young
But
person.
it's not even about like the theme, the general theme, or what the song's about or what they're singing about. It's like specific lyrical content. It's the pickup truck, the dirt road, the
Well, Bo
beers
Burnham
on
did it the best.
the beers on a Friday night. You know what I mean? And it's like
Yes.
it's just that continuing like all the time, and it's like, what is it? I don't get it. You know, like it's
Yeah.
just it's wild to me.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just I think it's all just owned by Budweiser and Bud Light. And like I swear, like almost every country song these days especially on the radio.
Yeah,
Like I would say 99% of the radio played country songs are beer advertisements or truck advertisements
yeah,
or like timeshare advertisements
yeah,
because it's like, hey, out down in Cancun and whatever, it's like they're trying to get people to buy a timeshare in Cancun or to buy another case of beer or buy another thing, like buy
yeah,
another truck. And it's just like, I don't want to be sold something when I'm listening to music.
yeah. It's like I don't know. It's like part of it's an interesting like subculture kind of thing.
But now I'm thinking maybe I should just write songs for selling stuff. And I'm like, that's a jingle. Never mind.
Yeah,
Just write jingles then. Just write fucking jingles.
right. Jingles.
Jingle
Why
all
did
the way, man.
why didn't I think of that? Shit.
I just, this is something it means nothing. I just want to point out we are an hour in. So I don't know what
Okay.
your time schedule is like. Just pointing it out
We can
just in
we,
case you
we
want
can go
to.
we can go a little more if you
Okay.
want. I wanted to
We,
touch actually on the Red Hot Chili Peppers if we may. Yeah.
yes.
So it's like
That's what I was like. I'm like thinking, oh, we still haven't even got the Chili Peppers or anything. So
we
yes, 100%.
we haven't got to the Red Hot Chili Peppers yet. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
definitely.
funny because I was like telling a friend I was like going to be talking to you, and I was like, yeah, I'm sure we'll bring up the Red Hot Chili Peppers at some point. It's like but it's cool because like I don't have anybody I can talk about the Chili's with, and I feel like in recent years they've become like taboo, like almost like Nickelback. Like when did that happen? I didn't realize they were so like hated because
I know. I don't know.
I've always been a fan.
Yeah, that shift happened randomly, spontaneously overnight or something. Because I remember the first time I heard somebody say, like, comparing it to Nickelback or something like that. I
Yeah.
was just like, I'm like, we talking about the same Chili Peppers? Like,
Well,
what are you talking about?
I kept seeing all these like memes and like very like directed negatively toward the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I'm like, what's happening here? Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
like some people were calling it like dad rock. I think that was part of it. It was like, uh, what would be a band? It would be kind of like Motley Crue for our
Uh,
generation.
okay,
Like
okay,
the 10 years before or whatever, like the high school in the 90s,
right, okay,
or the high school in the 80s, and you got your Motley Crues and you got your Def Leppards and stuff like that.
yeah,
I think it was just like at the time, I'm sure they were just killing it.
yeah,
Which is funny, which is actually kind of stupid to say because to even put them in the same category as those bands, because Chili Peppers were there before Motley Crue.
yeah, pretty
In the
much.
early
Yeah,
80s. They were
yeah,
there playing in the 80s before those bands and doing better stuff back then too and
yes,
still doing
yeah,
it.
yeah,
So that I apologize for even bringing them into the same arena
yeah.
as those guys because
How dare you?
the Chili Peppers have proven time and time again that they are not like anybody else.
No, no. Yeah, I was like, where is this coming from? Like, I mean, it's almost like I have to categorize them as like, when I talk to people about them, it's like, yeah, they're like, it's a guilty pleasure, I don't really believe in that, but you say that like, oh yeah, man, I love the Chili Peppers, and people are like, what? Man,
Yeah,
when I first heard like I was deeply moved like the first time I heard like Scar Tissue when I was a kid,
oh man, yeah.
and I was like, what is this? I think
Right.
my sister had the Californication album, and I would like go into her room and take the CD and listen to it, and I just like this is cool as hell, man. Like I don't
Man,
know,
I was loving it too, but then I
Yeah.
noticed that they didn't mention their pickup trucks or beer, so I turned it off.
Yeah. Where where's the dirt road?
I was like, what is this? Heroin?
Yeah.
It's like, oh yes, it is actually. That's exactly what it's talking about.
Yeah. A lot of sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Yeah, and they're
Yeah.
pretty blatant about it.
Very, very much so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even like they tried to hide it. It was
No.
like, no, this is exactly what they're doing.
Like sometimes he was like super subtle, and other times just like not at all.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I've always been like a big fan, and yeah, it kind of bums me out now that they're just like, I mean, I don't care at the end of the day. I mean, like, I like what I
Right.
like, and like, yeah, man, I love the Chili's, so do with that information what you will.
I found, it's a weird thing with music. It's like I think it's a lot easier for people to be like, "Oh, I didn't like that painting. I didn't like that thing," and they're okay with disagreeing on things that are visual. But when it
Yeah,
comes to music, and it's so like intimate, I guess.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
music can be listened to with headphones, so it's almost like it's coming from within inside you,
yeah,
you know. And so when it's like you like a song but no one else likes it,
yeah,
it's weird. Like you know deep down that you don't care that anybody else doesn't like it, but at the
yeah,
same time, it's like it's not that they don't like the song; it's that they don't like you
yeah,
for not
yeah.
liking the song that you like, because it's like
Yeah,
this is a representative of me or what it feels like to be me, and you don't like it, so you obviously don't like me.
yeah. I think it's in part two is like wanting to share in an experience, and it's like,
Yeah, yeah,
you
exactly.
hear I'll go back to Scar Tissue. So like you hear Scar Tissue by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and then you show it to a friend and be like, you got to hear this song I just heard. Like, it's amazing, and then they're like, oh yeah, that's okay. And it's
Hmm.
just like it's like there's a connection there that just briefly just like short circuits, and
Right.
you're just like, what? There's just that you're so disappointed. It's just yeah, I think it's just like all about sharing in an
Yeah.
experience, and I think it's the same with like movies and television, where it's like, have you seen this movie? And it's like, yeah, I didn't really like it, and you're like, what? And there's always that like, what reaction,
Yeah.
because you're just,
Well, fuck you.
yeah. Exactly. It's like, man, I wanted to share in this with you. Like be stoked with me.
Yeah, yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, not
Yeah.
just the experience of sharing it in the movie theater together, but afterwards it's like, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I think it might be you might be onto something here, but I think to tie it together is like you're sharing an experience with people in a movie theater, say particularly, or
Yeah.
a live show, a concert or something.
Yeah.
And while you're in it, you don't get a chance to determine other people's opinions of how it's going,
Hmm.
right? So it's like you're experiencing it, and if you're really digging it, you're too focused on the actual show of it. Like when I watched Dark Knight the first time,
Yeah.
it's like you're right in it, and everybody else is like silent because they're watching to see what happens. And
Yeah.
then that shared experience, you get that feeling. It's really deep shared experience where everybody's like gasping at the same time, or just like
Yeah.
laughing at the same time, and then you leave and it breaks the experience you were having. And
Hmm.
so you're trying to continue that by being like, hey, was that awesome? And they say no, and then all of a sudden shattered. That
Yeah.
shared experience is shattered. Even the previous one retroactively is now also shattered.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. No, that's a key thing with with art in many forms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you see, like you hear a song, or you watch a movie or a TV show, like I said, and you want to like your first, if that's something you enjoy, and your first reaction is, I need to tell someone, or I need to show someone, or ask someone, have you seen this? Have
Right.
you listened to this? Like, look at this painting I found. Isn't this amazing?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. It's all experience and shared experience, and it is with bringing it all back. The computer generated stuff. There's
Yep.
no shared experience in it
Yeah.
because the computer is not sharing in the experience. Now, if the computer was sharing in the experience,
Yeah.
like artificial intelligence or something, like
Then we
data
have a problem.
on well, yeah, we'd have much bigger problems than whether they're making art. If
Yeah.
anything, it's like, yes, do art. It's like the new Hitler, and is like, please go to art school.
Oh
It's
God.
like, please go. We will pass
Yeah.
you in every class. Uh, but like Data from Star Trek, he paints a painting and it's endearing
Yeah.
because it's like, oh, he's wanting to have the human experience. But
Yeah.
when my Dell or HP Hewlett Packard comes out, and then all of a sudden it's like your photo is ready, and it's like, thank you,
Yeah.
and there's no shared experience there.
Yes.
It takes away. So that is probably the best way to put it for like
Yeah.
against computer generated art in
Yeah.
any form, whether it's pictures or music or anything like that. It's just there's no feeling to it. It's being told what to do.
There's no substance, no depth.
It's like saying you better love me, and then they
Yeah.
do, but it's like, would they have done it if you didn't yell it at them? Right?
Yeah.
It's like it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
selflessness.
Lacking that humanity, I guess.
Yeah, so we just need to make people more like robots, and then we will understand them better. Not make robots more like people. We need to make us more like robots.
Yeah, we're going the wrong way.
Yeah, we're going the wrong way.
Exactly.
I do have a question I was going to ask you. I've asked
Word.
in the other podcast episodes.
Yep.
Where it's if your younger self could see where you're at artistically today,
Oh God.
what would they say to you?
Younger me.
Yeah, if they saw where you were at, what would they say to you? What would you say to them to try and make your current life better? But what would they say?
Oh geez. They'd probably be disappointed if I'm honest. probably thought I would have done a lot more. I had a lot of wild ideas, and I don't think a lot of it came to fruition. So he'd probably be on one hand, he might be a little disappointed, but at the same time, I think young me was very understanding. So he'd be like, "It's all good, man. Like I get it.
Right.
Such is life.
Right. Yeah.
So,
exactly. Yeah, it's an interesting question. I like to ask it because it makes you think about not only your younger self, but it's like, if your younger self said that to you, what would you do?
Yeah.
I'd like backhand him.
Yeah.
Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. I'd be like, damn it, long-haired, purple-haired Kyle, you're right, Yeah.
Yeah. No, you wouldn't. You'd be like, screw off. You've done so many cool things.
Yeah.
I would smack him for you.
I'd be like, I'd show him like, like I recorded 2 albums, man. I mean, like, one with a band and one just myself. So fuck off, I've been busy.
I would tell mine, I'd be like, yeah, well, I've had sex, so fuck you.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah.
And then it'd be like, oh shit.
Yeah. All right. Duly noted. Yeah. Touche.
So it's like, it's just a funny, sad, dark, and hilarious question to ask.
That's the general theme of this little chat here, I think.
I even tried to make the background part on here to look a little darker too, because when I had Ashley on, it was I let her choose, and it was all like rainbowy colorful one. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna let Kyle choose. I'm just gonna do it myself. I already know what he would pick. He'd pick the darkest option available.
Perfect. Love it. I like the little squiggles.
Yeah, it's it's got that 90s vibe. You got to have a little bit of that nostalgia and artistic kind of feel to it.
Exactly, it's perfect.
There was one that looks like birthday sprinkles. I'm like, I don't know if that really matches what would be going on here. Well, this has been great, man. I don't want to keep you too long, but I would love to have you back again at some point, maybe in later on in your process of making the album and stuff, and we can catch up on that. And maybe if you have samples or something, we can play.
Yeah.
For anybody
man.
anybody who's listened to this hour and 13 minutes here, which is awesome. Actually, a bit longer if you add the intro.
Yeah.
I will put the link to the music you do have online already.
Cool. Yeah.
So people can listen to that. And whatever else, like
be gentle.
Now they're already going to just be yelling at me for calling out Dime Big Daryl.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing I've learned. I was like, I need to be the controversial one, so then you can always just pick your side.
Oh yeah, right.
And so I'll just say whatever.
Perfect.
All
Yeah,
right,
hell
dude.
yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. It's been fun. Good seeing you, and
Sure.
good chatting. And yeah, man, anytime you just let me know, and
Hell yeah.
I'm here.
Sweet, man. Cool. Well, I'll catch you peoples later on our next episode. Peace.